5 benefits of being emotionally connected with your spouse. Hi friends, welcome to Marriage Realities. Today's video is all about the benefits of being emotionally connected with your spouse. Being emotionally connected with your spouse is the epitome of a happy marriage. Do you know why? It is because your relationship with your spouse is all about emotions. Yes, the relationship you share with your spouse is highly emotional. Most of you long to experience multiple positive emotions in your day-to-day life with your spouse. You want to feel loved. You want to feel cared. You want to feel happy and content. You want to feel sheltered and protected. If you experience such positive emotions in your married life, it just means you have perfect emotional connection with your spouse. On the contrary, you could also experience multiple negative emotions in your relationship. You might be feeling uncared and unloved in your married life. You might be feeling miserable and unhappy in your relationship. You might be feeling neglected and overlooked by your spouse. When you experience such negative emotions in your relationship, it just means you are emotionally disconnected with your spouse. What happens when you're emotionally disconnected with your spouse? You stop communicating with your spouse. You stop being supportive towards your spouse. Your sex life becomes non-existent. You do not feel like a family with your spouse. How can your marriage survive when you experience such emotional disconnection with your spouse? This is the reason being emotionally connected with your spouse is the most important ingredient for the longevity of your marriage. It is a fact that you should be emotionally connected with your spouse if you want to experience happiness and fulfillment in your married life. How do you stay emotionally connected with your spouse? It is quite simple. You must make your spouse feel your care and love. How do you go along doing it? Do not overlook the stress and tension your spouse might be undergoing. You must immediately step in to pacify your spouse when he or she feels lost and worried. You must be encouraging when your spouse is feeling down and disheartened. You must console your spouse when he or she shares his or her misapprehensions and misgivings with you. You must spend quality time with your spouse so that he or she does not feel lonely. You must make your spouse feel that you will always be there for him or her in his or her times of need. When you act in such an emotionally connected manner with your spouse, it takes your relationship to a high level of contentment and fulfillment. You must definitely have a look at the 5 benefits of staying emotionally connected with your spouse gives your marriage. The number 1 benefit of staying emotionally connected with your spouse is you feel like a family. The incredible beauty of your marriage is the feeling of being a family that you constantly feel with your spouse. You feel emotionally secure because of the beautiful relationship you have with your spouse. You feel emotionally bonded when your family expands with the arrival of your children. You never feel lonely as you know that you can rely on your spouse to support you any given time. You become responsible and accountable towards your family. You cannot think apart from your family as your life becomes connected to their well-being and happiness. You now feel that your life has a new meaning and value. All because of the family bond, the emotional connection you enjoy with your spouse gives you. The number 2 benefit of being emotionally connected with your spouse is you enjoy excellent compatibility. When you're emotionally connected with your spouse, you enjoy excellent compatibility with him or her. Unless you have compatibility with your spouse, you cannot enjoy your married life. When you're emotionally connected with your spouse, you do not make a big deal about the faults and mistakes of him or her. You understand that your spouse will be different from you. You respect the individuality of your spouse without making it into a relationship issue. You do not store resentment against your spouse. You easily make up after your fights with your spouse. Such a scenario in your married life happens only when there is emotional connection between you and your spouse. The number 3 benefit of being emotionally connected with your spouse is trust becomes predominant in your married life. Trust is the epitome of a good marriage. Without trust, your marriage cannot survive. You can love your spouse the second you meet him or her, but it takes years to embed trust into your married life because trust is that slow to develop. When you're emotionally connected with your spouse, trust makes an easy entry into your married life. It is because you make your spouse feel that you will always be there for him or her when he or she needs you. Your spouse is so emotionally connected to you that he or she is sure you will not let him or her down any time in your life. When there is emotional connection between you, there is no needless secrecy in your relationship. Your behavior makes your spouse realize that you will never betray him or her. Your spouse also makes you feel sure of his or her loyalty towards you. When there is such unflinching trust in your relationship, it just means you're enjoying excellent emotional connection with your spouse. The number 5 benefit of being emotionally connected with your spouse is you enjoy your married life. When you're emotionally connected with your spouse, the overall atmosphere in your married life becomes breezy and easy. You feel absolutely comfortable with your spouse. You're able to share all your emotions with your spouse. You share fun and laughter with your spouse. You're able to be yourself with your spouse. You might have arguments with your spouse, but there's absolutely no abuse in your relationship. You enjoy excellent quality time with your spouse, and you also enjoy valuable personal time. You're able to talk about anything under the sky with your spouse. Can you see the beautiful benefits emotional connection you enjoy with your spouse gives your married life? So, do not overlook emotional connection as not that important in your married life, because your relationship cannot do without it. If you do not enjoy emotional connection with your spouse, you will only feel unhappy and miserable in your married life. On the other hand, if you experience emotional connection with your spouse, you cannot ask more in your married life. Did this video make you understand that you need emotional connection with your spouse if you must enjoy your married life? Marriage Realities will have many such relationship eye-openers. Subscribe to my channel to understand your marriage in a new light. Press the bell icon for updates about my latest relationship videos. Make love forever until death do us part your relationship goal.